This is the mission desk. Coming!
How are you? I'm back working. Took a little break yesterday because I was very tired from all the traveling. I bought that new beat-em-up Towerborn. We'll be playing that tonight. I don't know if the Steam Deck can handle streaming it. It's pretty solid so far. Just playing a little bit before I fed the cats. Yeah, I don't think I can stream that game though, because it's pretty laggy on the deck. When you get into an instance, it's fine, as long as you put it on low, but we'll play that at home. That's a home stream game. Yeah, that game is actually pretty cool.
Alright, it's go time!
I forgot that it was coming out. Just kind of randomly dropped it today. I bought it a couple hours ago. I also bought FF16. I bought that game mainly because mods for that game are going to be really awesome. Also, I haven't played it before, and for what it's worth, I can't vouch for anyone else's experience, but playing the game on high 1080p with frame generation, I get like a locked 120 FPS. for the most part, minus some stuttering. So that was enough for me. Hopefully it'll maintain that performance in the rest of the game, but who knows. Yeah, I bought FF16, so I'm doing that for sure. If I get some donos today, I'll get the Marvel collection, but a little bit out of my price range currently. Guys, wanna chip in for the Marvel collection? My link is there. Look, the link is all fucked up. You guys know the link already. Yeah, I can get that game for 40 on what's it called? Humble. I can say that somebody's working on a balance mod. Somebody's working on a balance mod, but he's mostly doing range stuff currently. He's also increasing the ability cap. He asked me if I wanted to test it, and I kind of told him I don't really play games range for the most part, unless it's like Gun Kata or something. But yeah, somebody's working on a balance mod. Want to give me some suggestions for things to have him fix? Go ahead and need to send it to me on Discord, and I'll talk to him. I've been in contact with the guy that's doing the balance mod.
Could someone give me a hand?
It's been a little bit awkward because, you know, I wasn't at home. Didn't have my computer. Playing the game modded right now.
Could someone give me a hand?
Oh, they took me down.
Thanks. I owe you one.
I'd turn those fuckers off. They keep coming back. I hate them so much. They talk too much. And they suck at playing the game.
Could someone give me a hand?
Shut the fuck up, dude. You should be playing like Animal Crossing or something. He's probably really good at Animal Crossing.
Oh man!
He needs to stop playing action games. Sucks hard.
Oh man! They got me!
Like they got me. Yeah, you suck, that's why.
Thanks. I owe you one.
What exactly makes the great swords bad? Because I mean, you can have like double attack speed in this game, so like, what exactly makes them bad? I feel like this is the game where slow melee weapons would like be top tier because
we can handle
you
these
can
guys,
stack
no
attack
problem.
speed. You can't do that in stuff like Monster Hunter. I only used it once for the achievement. It's not my playstyle, so I can't really comment myself. Yeah, they managed to screw up a slow weapon in a game where you can double your attack speed. That's pretty impressive. That's quite impressive, actually. I didn't really think that was going to happen. So it's the same problem as most other games. Fast classes. Fast weapons are always better than slower weapons most of the time. It sucks because I just don't like playing slow weapons, but generally from the meta, I've lucked out pretty well. Especially with playing like martial arts and stuff. I've lucked out pretty well. Neo 2, perfect example. The fists were busted in many ways, but it definitely took skill to use them still. It's not like you were just mashing one button and killing everything. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I always go for martial arts if I can. This game needs polish more than balancing, honestly. I feel like this game is currently balanced around content that doesn't exist. Which is why you can, like, become invincible. You can become invincible and heal more damage than you can take. I mean, keep in mind, I'm playing with a difficulty mod right now. It's not something that you can notice unless you've played the game, but I'm taking, like, way more damage, and it's still, like, almost impossible to die. I feel like this game's gonna be like Xenoverse, where they will make changes, and there will be, like, some kind of power creep. Like, you'll have to do some kind of mission to increase your cap, and maybe the events will have, like, unique affixes or something. We're basically playing the early access version of this game. It's just the early access has a lot of content and a full story with an ending and a small amount of endgame content, but I definitely think that any complaints that we have, they're already aware of, and they're building the game around stuff that we don't have access to yet. I like playing this game, but I just ran out of stuff to do too quick. And yeah, it's pretty laughable that they managed to screw up a slow weapon in a game where you can double your attack speed. It's pretty impressive. Xenoverse 2 was a lot like Gundam Breaker 4. Just like it wasn't really challenging. There wasn't really much of a point to leveling up, and some stuff felt a lot worse. Like in Xenoverse 2, for instance, one of the biggest problems was if you tried to play a melee character, the amount of supers that you had was like a fraction of what ranged characters had. You really only had like a couple options. There was like nothing to work with at all. Now that's been fixed with all the DLC and the free updates they've done, but yeah, that game had the same problem, the balancing issues and like lack of content where it's needed. Kind of just hoping it's a let them cook kind of thing. I definitely don't regret buying it, but yeah, I'm definitely like totally out of things to do at the moment, so I hope that they will add more stuff. I mean, the game's getting at least a season pass, and it seems like it did pretty well. PC player base has dropped off a cliff already, but I mean, if they're going to be doing long-term events for it and stuff, that definitely implies that there will be like more content or more of an endgame or something. I don't know, if they fuck up that game, I won't really care that much because I already got 40 hours out of it. That's more than a lot of other stuff I've played recently. So, ball's in their court. Yeah, they fixed a lot of that stuff as time went on. Yeah, Xenoverse 2 was a lot like Gundam Breaker 4 currently. Balancing issues, lack of content, lack of polish. But, I mean, to be fair, this is the first Gundam Breaker that actually has an audience. The first two, like, nobody talked about them. 3 was popular to a degree, but, you know, being Japan and Southeast Asia only meant that only, like, hardcore action game or Gundam people were going to be playing it. So I definitely think that we're having a little bit of growing pains. Like, wait, we're actually getting feedback now. What they weren't before. My Gundam Breaker 3 was basically like the Kamen Rider games that I play on the channel sometimes. It's only available in 2 countries. Only one of them was in English, and having to buy a Singapore card and make a Singapore PlayStation Network account was like more effort than most people wanted to put in. So it ended up not being very popular, as you can imagine. And now they actually have people playing the game, so It's really going to depend on how quickly they address issues and if the season pass gives like more endgame stuff to do. Fixes. The main problem with the game's combat is that there's just not many moves. A lot of the moves are just cloned. So if they fix those things, I'll stick around. But yeah, playing it right now and expecting the amount of content that Xenoverse has and that level of polish and extensive balancing is just not going to happen currently. The game did really well for me. Those videos got like 20,000 plus views, so I'll definitely stick around. And the community has been like actually asking me for mod videos and stuff instead of being like the Relink community and being really weird about it. I'm like, dude, I've done everything in the game. I've done the hardest content legit. No cheats, no mods. I've literally solved the game, you know. That's why I'm really careful about using mods before I do everything in a game, because it's mostly console players getting really jealous and parasocial. I'll make a video about the mods tonight, probably when I get home, and then I'll, after that video is uploaded, we'll check out Towerborn. I played it for about an hour. That game's got potential. It's held back by always online and wanting to go free to play. Means it's probably going to end up like Concord and Tower kind of Wayfinder. I really don't think they're going to have enough people playing to warrant being free to play. I also hope that the grind is not going to be impacted by going free to play, you know, where if you don't spend money or whatever, you know, the progression is way slower. Yeah, we'll check out that game tonight. I did not get a review key for it. I paid for it with my own money, so mostly taking donations for my survival and the Marvel collection for tomorrow. Ray Natus, I'll just have to get. I'll have to get that next month. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is Gundam Breaker 4 has an actual community. 3 really didn't. It's not like there weren't people online playing 3, but the resources for the game were pretty lacking. It's basically like one Google document was like the main thing. I played it long after most of the community had left because I didn't get around to it right away. Yeah, next month is the games, mostly because I already have the Switch version. Hopefully that game is Steam Deck kosher. Should be. It's gonna be FF16. Well, first Towerborn, Marvel Collection if I get donations for it, and then FF16. Then Ray Natus and East 10. So pretty stacked couple weeks here. Then an update on this is supposed to be coming by the end of the year. So I'll be playing this. Grace's remaster I'll do. I'm not the biggest fan of that game. I mean, it was fun, but I don't really care for high-level gameplay in that. It takes too much grinding and modding the game to be fun. I mean, it's possible they'll change how the hit stun works and the accuracy, but I don't know. They didn't mention anything about it in the changes they're making. So, I think for high-level gameplay, I probably won't do much for it, to be honest with you. You know, if they bring back Xillia 2, they bring back Destiny Remake with Arts Ball, or like the Vita games, I'll definitely do some stuff on those, but I think Graces is just going to be a casual game for me. The solo runs for that game not only have to mod the party out, they also mess with the accuracy stat or something, so that there's less gotcha pull hit stun. That game's gotcha pull hit stun is the worst out of all the games, pretty much. So I'm not really wanting to do much for that game, personally. Just play it, because I didn't play it in English. I played that game in Japanese. I'm not really looking to do any technical stuff with that game. I'll just play casually. I don't know, maybe they actually will do, like, balance changes or something. I hope if they actually are bringing back Xillia 1 that they will fix the boss fights. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not gonna buy that remaster. I really do think that leak is true, just because, they've already said that they're gonna be doing more games besides Graces, but I have like zero interest in playing that game. Again, if they're not gonna fix the boss fights, I have zero interest. So the ball's in their court. Xillia 1 has the depth of a puddle. It actually kind of starts when Tales games actually started to look less dated, but the gameplay is just a complete disaster. I'm not really interested in paying $50 for that. It's the same broken boss fights. Zero interest. I think what makes Xillia 1 worse is that the second game fixes all those problems. It came out literally a year later, so it's not like it was a long wait. It wasn't like the wait between Streets of Rage 3 and 4 or DMC 4 and 5. It was literally a year. So I'm not really down to play Xillia 1 if it's going to be the same not fun boss fights. Legendia is not worth playing. Legendia is boring. Legendia sucks even if you're only playing for the story, which I think is pretty unique because I think most Tales games have pretty passable stories. I think they have pretty passable stories. It's mostly people that care about the gameplay that are more nitpicky about it. But, like, the problem with Legendia is that the gameplay is not great. And then they didn't even dub the second half of the game. So, the second half of the game has, like, almost no voice acting. Not to say that that ruins the game, you know. Final Fantasy VII is one of the... I think it's one of the best games of all time, especially one of the best JRPGs that has no voice acting at all. But having it for half the game and then not paying to do the rest is terrible. Like, it would have been better if they just didn't dub it at all. So if they bring Legendia back, I really think they're either going to have to redub it, which I doubt is in their budget, or they'll just make it Japanese only. That's one of the biggest complaints about that game, even from people that aren't super sweaty about the gameplay like I am, is that, yeah, there's half of a voice-acted story. I literally did half of it, and then there's none. So I don't know how they would bring that game back. That's a logistical nightmare. I don't know why they didn't just, not dub it. If you're only going to do half, might as well just have it in Japanese only. And I say this as somebody who often prefers the English dubs to the Japanese dubs for certain Tales games. I'm not that kind of weeb that dismisses English dubs. I think the Tales English dubs are very high quality. But I make some exceptions. I mostly make exceptions for Legendia because, like I said, they only dubbed half the game. The Vesperia remaster, where they didn't even bother to contact Troy Baker. Didn't even bother to contact him, so they got some other guy doing like the lines, the new lines, which completely ruins the English dub. I love that dub to death, but when that remaster came out, I'm like, you're gonna have to have some closed-minded weeb tendencies playing that game because honestly, it's really awkward to have two people voicing the same character in the same dialogue. It's really off-putting. Yeah, East 10 combat is good. I enjoyed it. I played through like half the game, and then I waited for a PC. I think it's just good because they needed to change the combat, because the old combat was getting very stale. It wasn't like Tales where you just want them to iterate on the same battle system. They like barely iterated on that system for years. So it's nice to see them do something different. East Combat kind of like stopped really evolving past Memories of Celceta. It's kind of just the same thing for a really long time. I hope that they iterate on that combat a lot more and they don't go back to the party system. The problem with the party system is just like the characters weren't very different. And also from a story perspective, they barely had any relevance. I think the fact that you know that like they're never going to be in the next game really makes them not really feel important. Having only two characters, I think, really helped the combat evolve. East Combat's always been good ever since like 7. but I do feel like they got a little bit too complacent. They didn't really evolve it or change it at all. It's just the same for a really long time. So good example of what's wrong with the East party system is what happens in Mega Man X Command Mission, where they give you different party members, and they actually have, like, decent backstories and stuff, but they don't even appear in the ending. when you beat that game, you land back on solid land, or they land in the sea, and only Zero, X, and Axel come out of the escape pod. The other characters completely disappear. It always really bothered me. Like, Massimo had a really cool story. For somebody that was only in one game, he was a pretty endearing character. Marino was cool as well. And then, like, they don't even appear in the ending. The game is, like, actively telling you, like, they don't really matter. They're irrelevant characters. The East games have always had that problem too. There's like a couple that actually do something in the story, and the rest are just there. They're there to be an extra moveset to use. So I actually really like that they just went down to 2 characters. I don't think going back to 1 character is something they're ever going to do, but I hope that they continue to expand upon it. The old system was getting pretty tired. Too much of a good thing. It didn't really change. Gendia is just a good example of how to not localize the game. If you didn't have budget to dub the whole game, then why did you even bring it over in the first place? It doesn't help that that game came out like right around when RPGs became like mostly fully voiced. Persona 3 was only a couple years later. It was like almost completely fully voiced in English. Like Final Fantasy X, 12, Phantasy Star was out around that time too. And he did like 30% of the game is voiced, and then the rest is becomes a silent film, kind of just at random. Power Flood, the party system in East has a lot of parallels with Tails. They have moveset prejudice. Like, you know Adol's gonna get the most OP moves. The other characters are gonna be struggling for scraps. That's all gone in East 10. Like, they got rid of that. They got rid of that problem. For the most part. Harja, or whatever her name is considerably slower, but because of the duo system, she's still worth using. Yeah, East 10 is solid. Worst thing about it is the ship. The ship sucks. I mean, that's to be expected. To be expected is for the ship to be ass, but the ship feels very tacked on, like they just wanted variety without, like, it actually being fun. Which we're used to in video games. Like, I don't really need this variety to be there. It doesn't even feel fun. That's kind of the problem with the ship. The ship just feels there because the Switch was the lead platform for the game. They couldn't, like, actually make a big interconnected world, so tie it together with small islands. Like, the ship is not fun to use, and they shove it down your throat. I don't know, East is like trying to make more expansive worlds, but the problem is they just don't have the budget or the engine for it. Everybody praises East 8 being on the big island, but I'm like, dude, there's an invisible wall everywhere because the lead platform was the Vita. There's an invisible wall everywhere. If you see something, you can't just jump down. You might have to go through like 3 different loading zones. That was what I couldn't stand about that game. East 9, on the other hand, the city was just very bland and didn't really have anything interesting about it. But the traversal was greatly improved, and there were a lot less invisible walls, which helped. It also helps that East 9 was PS4 lead platform and not Vita. I don't know. This might be a hot take, but I felt like having East 8 on an island, but then like also having it be a lead platform Vita game really dampened that experience a lot. There's invisible walls everywhere in that game. Because it's essentially a slightly upgraded PSP game. And obviously they didn't want to change like how the whole game worked with exploring. East 10's got some nice traversal. A lot less invisible walls as well. East 8's a great game, but I don't think the island really does it as many favors as people like to say it does. Mostly just because, like I said, you can't really explore on your own terms. You have to know where all the loading zones are. And there's a lot of them because, you know, the game wasn't really... I don't think they ever really intended to get it off the Vita. It's just they got a lot of complaints because the Vita version has 2 less buttons and way worse resolution and frame rate. Yeah, I forgot about that East mobile game. Is that still up? Did that get shut down already? It didn't even look like East at all. It's like East in name only. Fake East game. It's like that new Yakuza gacha game they just announced. Which is probably going to have non-existent gameplay. Basically just be something where, you know, you pay to skip waiting bars and get advantages and stuff. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you can make a decent, you know, instanced Yakuza game on phone by now. It shouldn't be that hard. It just like take like the Lost Judgment combat and just put it in an instance, and then add all the mobile stuff like extra characters to play and progression systems and, you know, currency to pull. I would play that. But they don't even really seem interested in doing that, honestly. Everybody's all doomsaying. I'm like, obviously they've got a new mainline Yakuza game that they're doing, but for some reason they don't seem to want to do anything with their mobile stuff. The same tired formula that people aren't really falling for anymore. I don't think people would be against playing like a Yakuza game like Peak of Combat. You know, you mostly just load into an instance, but the combat is decent and there's enough progression in characters to like keep you playing. As long as the monetization is not too overbearing and unfair. Dolphin friendly. Yeah, the East games seem just about as bad. They've got a good formula, they're not really using it. Well, it's like not even really an East game. It's more like a mobile tap target MMO. So there's pretty steep competition with that already, and then like East fans don't really want to play it because it's, you know, not East. This is the same thing that happened with the Tails gotchas. Somehow they didn't realize, like, you know, there must be some reason why the Tails gotcha that lived for 7 years was the one that played like a Tails game. And the ones that didn't play like a Tails game died within like less than a year. I think Prestoria made it like a year and a half. But like past the year mark, it was already clearly on its deathbed. Like, they don't understand that when they make these games. And like, if you're trying to attract people from a long-running franchise, you should make it like play at least somewhat like it. Otherwise, not only does it alienate those people who are already going to be like apathetic towards it because it's a mobile game, like it gives it competition with other stuff too. Tales of Crestoria is a perfect example because, like, if you want a turn-based gacha, there's no shortage of games to play like that. There's tons of them, and they're all like longer lasting and more likely to not shut down anytime soon. It's like, why would you play Crestoria? There's no reason to. It's actively kind of stupid to, when you think about it. You can play Fate Grand Order, you can play Star Rail. Well, Star Rail wasn't out at the time, but same difference. It's like I play PGR. You know, if a new action gacha comes out, it has to be better than that game. And that's just an impossible standard to meet. PGR is a really high quality gacha, and the monetization is actually very fair and not predatory. It's like something else comes out, it's like, okay, well, is it better than what I'm already playing? If not, then I don't know if I care. GG! First Berserker clear. Now I'm fully done with early access. All content cleared. All content cleared. Both characters, hardest difficulty. Optimized builds. Full clear. Now it's really time to wait for the next update. That was the last thing I had to do, was clear with the Berserker, and I did. That was a really broken build. It had like damage and survivability. GG's. Yeah, now I'm really done with that game until the next patch. Mostly just because my haven't made it so you can increase your inventory yet. Yeah, there'll probably be another patch this week, hopefully. There's some new legendaries, and I'll probably mess around with the build a little bit, but yeah, I think it's time to move on from the game for a little bit, play something else. Let's see here, what else? Still got about another hour I need to be here, so what's a good game to turn on and play? I might leave a little bit early because I got here early, but I'm kind of enjoying the vibes right now. There's nobody here but me and the cats. Hey, buddy. Wanna come sit in my lap? Oh, that boss is just RNG. Everything in that game is RNG because of the way that the hit stun works. You're stuck in like a full half second of hit stun, regardless of what hits you. That's like the main reason why survivability is important in that game, because of it's kind of got some beat 'em up behavior with how the enemies fight you. Like sometimes they'll just decide to not let you play the game. The difference is that in a game like this, you get knocked down eventually, so that you get some invincibility frames. You don't in that game. There's no iframes in that game at all, outside of the dodge. 0. It's actually significantly less than the average beat 'em up worth playing. That run would have died multiple times if I didn't end up with like 1100 health. That was what made that run clear. Less than the damage. The damage helped, but I definitely made the right choices. I sacrificed some damage for survivability. The generic enemies are more dangerous than the bosses for the most part, just because it's easy to get comboed to death. No burst in that game or anything, so you can very easily get comboed for like half health or completely to death. Hopefully that's something they plan on ironing out, because it's like the most unfair thing about that game. That and some of the bosses, their attacks are very problematic, and sometimes they'll just do it like 10 times in a row. Dragon is Dead is definitely one of my games of the year, but I have a little bit of caution because it's got a lot of problems. I don't know if saying it has a lack of content is true, because it definitely has a decent amount. It's mostly just that it's lacking any meta progression. They said that update's getting pushed back to next year. So I'm like, yeah, you know, I've gotten about 40 hours of gameplay out of it. I'm not really too concerned if it doesn't end up great, but definitely some of the most fun I've had this year. This needs a lot of combat polish and balancing. You can't really have permadeath action roguelikes with stuff where it feels like you lost because you got unlucky. But that's exactly how that game is. You're in the wrong spot at the wrong time and you get comboed to death. It's not something that you should have in a permadeath roguelike. You should always feel like losing the run is almost always your fault, not, you know, the game decided to screw you over. That's definitely something they need to iron out before I'll really be able to recommend that game to people. It's not like Entropy Effect, where if you get trash drops, you can still clear. There's like actual invincibility frames and stuff like that to prevent you from getting stuck in hit stun. But I like supporting small games. Small games usually end up being more fun to me than big stuff. Virtua Unlimited project, which I'll probably play after this for a little bit, is sleeper hit of the year for me. One of the best games I played this year. It's not something that anybody's talking about. Didn't really get much attention. Incredible game. Some of the best platformer gameplay I've seen in a long time. Definitely one of my games of the year. I'll have to do a game of the year thing, but for this year, but probably wait until like Christmas, because there's a couple other games I want to play this year. East 10, there's Ray Natus, FF16. I don't know how much I'm going to play that when I get it though, because the mods might make it a lot better. It's already kind of a solved game for guides and stuff, so I'm not really expecting any kind of return on that like I got with Gundam. Gundam Breaker 4 paid for itself in full already. The revenue I'm making this month pretty much paid for the entire game, and I got a lot of new subs and people looking at my stuff. FF16, I know for a fact that's not going to happen. Just because it's an old game. Anything you need to know about that game, somebody else has already covered extremely well. The only chance that game has of growing the channel is if I start doing mod stuff. There's a lot less people that do modded content. What are you guys' thoughts on the PS5 Pro? Everybody is reposting the $599 US press conference for the PS3. My take on it is the fact that it doesn't have the case, the disc tray, the disc drive, and the stand is separate too is fucking criminal. That's like $800. You get a decent PC for that price, and then like do stuff on it besides gaming. Surf the web, do your taxes, apply for jobs, actually do jobs, make music. The price is insane. And then they show it with a bunch of old games that like barely tell the difference. I don't know, at the same time, everybody that's complaining about it, as soon as they drop the bomb that like, hey, Grand Theft Auto 6 is gonna run at 30 FPS on base PS5, the thing's gonna fly off the shelves. That's all they need to say to get that to sell. I just don't think it's worth the money. This was supposed to be the generation where we stop having 30 FPS games, but like, we're still getting them somehow. I don't know, man. Vast majority of the stuff I played on PS2 was 60 FPS. With drops depending on the game, yes, but at least it was the target. It was like we've regressed in a lot of ways. That's totally what's going to happen. That game's not reaching 60 on base PS5. It's too weak. I also like how the marketing thing they did for it today didn't even fucking talk about the specs. It's like the thing that people don't understand about consoles is that they put decent graphics cards in them. The GPU is decent, but the processor is always the thing that they cheap out on, which is why, ironically, one of the best examples is Muso Games. Not just because of the channel that you guys are watching, but in general. Those games are very CPU bound, which is why, you know, I had Warriors Orochi 4 running at like almost max settings on my mid-range computer in 2018. It was running better than the PS4. It's like, I don't know. They're boasting about how the GPU is faster. I'm like, what about the processor? Is the processor actually like better? Better to the point where anything that's any game that's CPU bound like actually run better. Lots of games that really want more processing power and don't need a lot of graphical power. So like, I don't know. I mean, I'm obviously not the market for it anyway. I have a pretty good computer. It's an above average computer. It's content creator tier computer. You know, more power than most people need. But I don't know. I've been gaming on console a lot more than I've been gaming on PC. Just for how long I've been playing games and stuff. I would need to see specs and some benchmarks before I would drop like $800 on something like that. So that can go towards a pretty good PC. You get a pre-built where you already have some parts. It's also like the elephant in the room is like it still doesn't have any games. Their exclusives are the worst next to Microsoft, but Microsoft's barely even a contender anymore. They managed to kill Halo, Forza, and Gears, which were like the only exclusive IPs they had. I feel like I would rather buy a Switch 2, which will still be at least a couple $100 cheaper. And like, because it's Nintendo, they know there's going to be shit to play. Their exclusives are better than any of their competition. I don't know, PS5 Pro is just a hard sell. The library is very weak. I just don't care for their exclusives at all. I tried the new God of War and it was mostly walking and talking, barely any gameplay. And the gameplay was worse than the PS2 and PS3 games. Spider-Man 2 I might enjoy with like mods when it comes out on PC, but I definitely wouldn't buy a console for that game either. I think the most interesting thing about it was, the only thing that made that marketing video worth watching is that they said 75% of the people that play games with performance or fidelity modes, they're all going for performance mode, which is like what I've been saying. I've always felt like if a game looks nice, but it runs at 30 FPS, it's far less noticeable than if it just runs at 60. So that's actually pretty surprising to me. People actually care about frame rate now. Yeah, and you can like actually do jobs and shit on that computer. That's the thing. That's the problem. That's the real problem with the PS5 Pro's pricing is you can invest a little bit more and get a decent computer and make that money back with various amount of income streams. PS5 can, for the most part, only play games. Switch 2 announcement's supposed to be this month, apparently. I know they've been saying that for a long time, but it seems like there's actually some truth to it this time. They're gonna need some megatons to get me to upgrade. I barely use my existing Switch. I just use it to dump games. Don't actually play anything on it anymore. PC, Steam Deck, and then the new Switch is pretty much ensures you can play everything. Decent computer, the Steam Deck for like lower power stuff like this. I mean, it can run most AAA games, but I just can't really do 30 FPS anymore, so I really only play things on here that it can run pretty much perfectly. And with a Steam Deck, you get portable versions of everything, without having to buy another copy. You don't have to wait for patches, which is like the thing that really sucks about playing small games on Switch that barely anyone talks about. Yeah, you gotta wait weeks or like a month for patches sometimes. That's kind of why I got out of the Switch ecosystem. Steam Deck can run all those games just fine. Get it day one, don't have to wait for a port, don't have to wait for patches. Get the patches the same time as PC. Time for some hot jams. GG. That was no miss minus the 2 times I got thrown off the elevator. Honorary no miss. Still a 1 CC, but I want a no miss eventually. There we go. 2 game clears this stream. Not bad. Dragon is Dead and Streets X. What time is it? Oh yeah, almost time for me to pop off, especially because I'm going to play Towerborn at home. It's probably the last game of tonight. Final game. Oh, that was a sub 34. Not a bad clear time. That's my fastest Streets 1 route clear time. My skate time had a better score because he does less damage. But that was sub 40. It was sub 33. Huh, not bad. Awesome game. Alright, I feel like doing anything else. I'm leaning towards no. I'm going to be playing this when I get home tonight. Yeah, I'm going to call it there. I got some work to do here at the Cats. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to fund my survival, because the trip was very expensive, here's the link. If it shows you... yeah, extra 9 at the end isn't working, just copy-paste it. I'll see you guys later. Actually, very soon. After I finish with my chores here, I'll boot up and we'll play some Towerborn. Good night, everybody.